Body.
Cryptid, for you, I would say Hail Hydra. Okay. Hey, everybody,
I
welcome
want
on to the show. Go ahead.
to.
All right, I guess there must be a little bit of a delay. But hey, everybody, welcome to Comic Fanatic Live, the second episode. I am joined by Cryptidzeker. You guys know him from the chats and everything, so I'm really glad that he decided to be here. And especially today of all days, so thank you for coming and making the time for this. You and I don't always agree, but when we do, we really do agree. It's one of those things where we disagree or we really agree. It's not, we don't have that much in between space with us.
Yeah, I noticed that. But it makes for good
But
discussions.
that's okay. Yeah, exactly. I think people who disagree actually, it makes for a better show. When people disagree, if everybody's on the same page about everything, it kind of gets boring. Because it's like, oh yeah, okay, everybody's saying. You want some different opinions in there, and you know, I loved when you threw out things in the chat that actually made me re-examine things too. So it was always something that why I like that when we do disagree, you made me at least think my point of view and re-examine my point of view, which is I think is a key thing that you want to do. You want to make people rethink their point of view.
Exactly. Especially since there's only so much I could type down, at a rapid pace. I want to make sure each comment was worth it.
Oh, and it always was,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
So glad to hear that.
All right, so we got just a very few little hot topics tonight, because honestly, New York Comic Con just passed, and everything that was worthwhile coming out came out then. So now we're like scrounging for little bits of news. So we only have like three pieces. So we're going to get right to the casting. Honestly, it's all DC, I think. Yeah, all three of them are DC related.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is the casting of Catwoman for
Oh,
the Batman. What do you
yeah.
think of Zoe Kravitz being cast?
I'm actually okay with that casting. I mean, the last thing I saw her in was Crimes of Grindelwald. I hope to see a good movie in the Batman.
She just doesn't make me think Catwoman. So I had to, but then again, Gal Gadot did not make me think Wonder Woman either. So I was proven wrong
Mm-hmm.
by that, and I admit it as soon as I saw that movie. But I had to see her in that cat suit. I gotta see her if she can embody that character. But so far, I don't get that vibe from her. But I'm willing to wait and see with her.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
I
definitely
mean, it
want to
doesn't
see
always have to be like a blonde
it.
Michelle Pfeiffer type. So a little technical difficulty with Cryptid. So waiting for him to come back. Let's see. I'll read somebody. Tevia says hello, everybody. Hello, Tevia. Welcome. I also saw earlier that Warrior Born. Hello, Warrior Born. Nice to see you on here. Joining me. Great talking chat with you on Discord too. It's really cool. Um, Terry says, any opinion on the DC Comics rumor? If we're talking about DC 5G, we're going to be talking about that. That's the last piece I want to talk about. I want to see if Cryptid comes back on, if he has having technical difficulties and he can't make it back on. So let me see. What about DC's rumor of them replaced? Yeah, that's DC 5G. So let me just let Cryptid come back in. Hey,
Yep,
Cryptid,
yep, I'm
welcome
back.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry about that. I lost connection there. Damn it.
it's
This
all
is
right.
why
It
I was
happens.
referring.
It actually happened to me on the first episode of Little Big Screen. I had to delete it because I lost power, so I lost internet,
Oh,
everything in the middle of my show. So it happens. Let me see.
gotcha.
Just reading some questions and comments. So Tevye said, "What about the DC rumor that replacing their current heroes?" that's DC 5G. We're gonna talk about that last because that's the bigger news, I guess. Because for me personally, in my opinion, I find it to be a idea. I guess you meant a bad idea. Warrior Van says, "What are you guys talking about?" Right now we were just talking about the casting of Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. So, Cryptid, yeah, any thought of saying that? Any other thoughts on that? On the
Uh,
casting?
not really. I mean, I do want to see her in action, see like what her costume will look like and trailers. I'll reserve my judgment for there. You know?
Yeah, yeah, same thing. Like I gotta see, like right now, as I see her, I don't see her as Catwoman, but I'm open to seeing her in costume and seeing her a little bit in action, like maybe a clip or something of her, and to see how she is before I write her off.
Yep.
Um, all right, so let's go on to the next one, and again, it's a DC thing. It's all the DC Crisis of Infinite Earths pictures that have come out lately. We got Lila as what's her name? I can't I think of her name tonight. Um, Harbinger. She's Harbinger. She's finally embracing that role because that's who she was been. Lila Michaels. She's always been that character, but they reinvented her for the show Arrow, and now
Hmm.
she's being Harbinger. And they have um, Tom Cavanaugh is going to be Pariah. They actually just released today an official shot of him in that costume. They released Lila, I think, last week, and of course we got all the other names that we got there. Oh, we also got Burt Ward this week.
Oh, I
He
saw
was on
that.
set with a German Shepherd, which could be Ace the Bat Hound. And I think there might have been one more. Oh, the Batman 1989 cameo. Like, where did that come from? Like, Batman. It said millionaire Bruce Wayne. I think Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle engaged or something like that. So, what do you think
I'm
about
happy
those? Like those big
happy
DC
about
TV?
that. I'm happy about that. Selena and Bruce being engaged because I see a wedding between Batman and Catwoman. Hmm.
Yeah, not the promised one that we wanted.
Yep. Unless they ended up fooling us yet again on live TV.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'll actually see a wedding or anything, but you know what I think they are? I think they're actually setting up for Huntress story with that. Because if you remember that show, Birds of Prey, I'm not sure if you watched it or not. Did you watch that show, Birds of Prey? It was on WB, I think. I think it was
I
before
haven't
CW.
actually watched Ray.
Okay. Um, it very heavily implied that it was the Batman and Catwoman from Tim Burton's movies. It very heavily implied it. It never came out and said it, but the costume and everything looked very Selena Kyle from that movie. Batman's silhouette was very much like that in those movies. So it very much felt like it was them, but they weren't going to say that was them. And she's a little bit in the future, so maybe that was like a indication of them getting married, and it leads to her being born.
Cool. Hmm.
Um,
And
and
uh,
I'm glad that they're actually using Lila.
well, I'm happy for this Crisis event. It's been a while since I've seen the CW shows. I kind of fallen off there for a bit, but I'm definitely going to be coming back on for the Crisis event.
Yeah. See, now this is why a lot of people are like, "Oh, they're spoiling. They're giving out too much information on who's going to be on it." But this is why you have to do that. Otherwise, you may not want to watch it. Someone who hasn't been watching it may not tune in because you're like, whatever. But with all these announcements, it's getting people hyped. Like seeing old faces and all that. Like they're like, "Oh, I gotta watch it now." How many people came up to me and told me that they're definitely watching it now because that they're binging the series so they can watch this 5-part event.
Yeah, I mean that is one way to think of it, and we also have to think,
Hmm.
what are they hiding too? There has to be some surprises there when
Oh
we
yeah,
actually watch.
oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think they're definitely going to be hiding a couple of things. There's definitely going to be those things where you tune in and you're like, oh crap, they did that. Like maybe even Tom Welling in costume, because so far all they keep saying is Tom Welling as Clark Kent. They're not saying
Hmm.
Tom Welling as Superman. Is he going to wear that costume at all? I don't think so, but they might fool us with that. They might be a
Yep.
Jonathan Samuel Kent for Tevye. You never know.
Mhm. Cool. Oh, and going to Burt Ward's his Robin and I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, I just hope that they give some kind of like memorial type thing for
Adam
what's his
West.
name yeah, Adam West. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. Tonight is bad for my memory. But yeah, Adam West. I hope they give some kind of like little like the passing of Bruce Wayne or something like that. They give some kind of little thing that is a nod to Adam West's impact.
Hmm. Just
All
one
right.
thing. Can everybody hear me clearly? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just you're a little bit low, and I think you're a couple seconds delayed, but that's okay.
Yeah, this is the first time for me, so
Yeah, it's definitely it's okay. I mean, I can definitely hear
Mhm.
you okay. Is everybody in the chat? If you guys can hear him, okay, let me know in the chat if you guys can hear him. And aggressively relaxing is here, and he says, "I'm right there with you, Terry. This is going to be great. Great point about advertising your cool stuff. CW does so much awesome stuff. People are sleeping on." Exactly. I think you can't have an event like this and not promote it. Like if you did not say like, oh, Tom Welling's coming back, or Burt Ward's coming back, like that's bringing in people who may not watch it. Like people from who haven't watched any of these shows may be like, oh, they're gonna bring back Robin when I was a kid. I have to see this now. Like there are people who are going to think like that. They're bringing Tom Welling in. Oh shit, I haven't watched one of these shows since Smallville. I'm going to tune in. I think that's what they're going to do, and that's what you have to do when you have to promote it. You have to promote. You have to give stuff away in order to get people to come in, and it's going to be 5 parts. I think there's definitely, like you said, there's definitely going to be those big surprises that they're saving for us.
Can't wait.
And Tevye says he can hear you, so okay.
Okay, thanks,
Let's
Sevia.
go on to the final piece. Let's go into the final piece. Have you heard about the DC 5G rumors? Okay. Hopefully Cryptid comes back. It's having a little technical difficulties, but again, that's expected. I want to explain what I'm going to read some of the comments, and then when Cryptid comes back, we'll get into the 5G stuff. Okay, and it'll be the last of the hot topics. Um, Warrior Born did say he could barely hear Cryptid. Yeah, he's a little low. You might have to turn up your mic, your headphones or your volume for it. Sorry about that. Sometimes, especially when you're on your phone, I find it, especially because I do this on my phone too. My sound is not as high as most, but pretty soon I'm gonna get a mic and a better setup soon. So I hope you guys just stay with me for that and help and stay with that transition. So Terry said, this is going to be everything I ever wanted. I love it. Okay, Chris is back. 1 second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, sorry for that.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
you're louder now. You're louder, so
yeah, I
that
just
was
took the
worth it.
earphones off.
Okay, cool. Um, let's see. So let's see. Um, Warrior Born says, is Crisis on Infinite Earths going to be a crossover or show? It's going to be a crossover, 5 nights. We're going to have the first 3 parts this year, and then they're going to go on their holiday hiatus, and then it comes back in January with the final 2 parts. And it's going to cross over between um, Arrow, um, Batwoman,
Supergirl.
Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and The Flash. Everything but Black Lightning is going to be a part. of the actual episodes, but Black Lightning is going to be in the event. So he's going to be in the event, but he's not getting a part on his show. That's all. His show is not going to be a part of the event, but he is. So, okay. Have you heard of DC 5G?
I haven't actually. This is the first time hearing it.
Okay, it started out. It's a nickname that the news outlets and everything is calling what is to come for DC. The rumors of what's to come. At DC at New York Comic Con, Dan Didio did an interview, and in the back of his interview was the timeline of the DC timeline. You're familiar with that, where they're saying, Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman was the very first thing, and all the way up to the present day. Well, that spanned at 4 generations. Generation 1 was Wonder Woman. Generation 2 was the original, the Golden Age. Generation 3 was after Crisis. Generation 4 was Flashpoint and all that stuff. Okay, till now. So that's the 4 big generations. So the 5th generation is what we're going to be entering, and the rumor is we're going to get a all new, all different Marvel type situation where all the
Huh.
heroes, the main core heroes of Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, and the Flash are all going to be replaced by new people. The one that's leading the rumor is Luke Fox is going to be the new Batman, and we have no idea who the other ones are going to be replaced by. So that's the big rumor. Like they're doing a all new, all different Marvel situation, replacing everybody.
Wow, that's something.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, let's just look at the history of these type of things. In the '90s, both companies did it. Okay, we had Superman replaced by the 4 Superman, which everybody knew was going to be a gimmick. Batman replaced by Azrael. Wonder Woman replaced by Artemis. Uh, Aquaman went wild and got a beard and got his hand chopped off. Uh, Green Lantern was replaced by Kyle. Hal was replaced by Kyle. None of that worked out
Mm-hmm.
because they're all back now. Okay. Um, and then Marvel had Thor replaced by Thunderstrike, Captain America replaced by U.S. Agent. Um, let's see, Iron Man was replaced by War Machine.
Yeah.
They tried these things before, and then they tried it again recently with all new, all different Marvel, or
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Now, or whatever the latest, whatever that one was. I lost track of those initiatives, but it
I
was
love
like they changed everything.
now 2.0 or something like that, or
Yeah, it's
Marvel
it's
old
hard to
now.
keep track of them because like yeah, it was like Marvel Now, Marvel All New, Marvel All New, All Different, Marvel Now again. But it was like they tried it again and Marvel failed. So now DC's going to try it again. The definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing and hoping for different results. And I think they're doing the same exact thing and hoping for different results instead of giving what they know the fans want. What they said last year, or no, a couple years ago at WonderCon, that they realized what fans want is the return of the classic characters and give you,
Mm-hmm.
stories that fans want. And now they're going back to this whole reinventing. I hope it's just a rumor and they don't actually do it, or it's like just an Elseworlds thing. Maybe they're going to spin out. That would be cool. They do an Elseworld
I
spin
think
out of it.
I think people will be more accepting if it is an Elseworld.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I definitely think so.
All
Yeah,
right.
you started to talk, so I assumed you were going to say more, so I was just waiting for you to finish. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. There's just like this couple seconds pause every now and then, So.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
a delay, but it happens. Let's see.
What
What
are
some of
comments saying?
the comments? Yeah, let's see. Warrior Born did say, is Crisis on Infinite Earths going? Okay, that was already answered. He said Then he said, "Gotcha," because I read somewhere that it was going to be a show, and that confused me. No, it's going to be a 5-part event on the CW. So let's see. Terry says, the fifth generation worries me because I really don't want Superboy, my favorite character, getting aged up again. I don't think they're going to age him up. If anything, Connor I can see becoming Superman because there is a Superboy. So why not have Connor as Superman? So that would be the replacement for Superman, the logical replacement, I think, unless they have Supergirl step in as that role. Um, Terry also said this is a bad idea, and Cryptid hopefully will be coming back. So I'm going to wait for him. There you go. Let's see. There you go.
Back again.
That's all right. I'm still reading some comments. Terry says, also, why is DC Comics aging up my favorite character, Johnny Kent, Superboy again? Terry, I went over this last week. I think people got that they misread what was there. Because first of all, they were going by a very blurry copy of the timeline, okay? And John Kent, and he said it this week in Superman, that he was traveling in time when he was aged. So he aged in time. He was traveling in time with his grandfather. He got lost. And that time that he spent there, he aged. And then he came back and he was older. So that's what they were talking about. They're not talking about the Legion, him going there and coming back aged up. They're talking about, at least that's what I infer from it. They might be correct in saying that, but I think they misread that because the way it reads to me is it's just John Kent went to the future, which he did with his grandfather, and he came back and he was aged up. That's how I took it. How did you take that, Cryptid?
Honestly, I don't have much of an opinion on John Kent, to be
No,
honest. He's a
he's
good
not
character.
everybody's character, yeah.
He, he's just not my type of character,
Yeah.
you know. So
And he's
nothing.
and he's not someone that I think is major, like, oh, you can't age him, because the teenagers do age up sometimes. They do age them up sometimes. So I don't think he's like that stickler of you can't change them. Where like Superman and Batman, they have to remain that same time
Mhm.
frame. If you want to keep using them, you can't have like a 80-year-old Batman.
Right.
Unless you're doing an elsewhere story like Batman Beyond. Otherwise, you can't use an 80-year-old Bruce Wayne.
True. And I assume DC is aware John Kent's a popular character. To some people,
Mm-hmm.
he does have a fan base, so they will give us some sort of interpretation of a young John Kent at some
Oh yeah,
point.
definitely.
Let's hope
I
they keep
definitely
moving
think
the
we're going
story.
to see. Yeah, we're going to see young John Ken again. Right
Hmm.
now, Bendis is writing him, so Bendis has got like free reign on some things. But I guarantee that will be fixed, and he will be returned to his normal age um with Damien. So Tevye, just like I always tell you, just relax and take it easy, and time will play it out.
Yeah. Eventually, Bendis has to let him go.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Warrior Born says Barry Allen was replaced by Wally West. Yeah, that was after the original Crisis in the comic books, and that lasted until very recently when Barry came back, and um, that's very controversial with it. But I think that was also a natural progression because Wally was his heir apparent, and the Flash wasn't doing that well in sales anyway, so they needed that boost of young blood. But when you replace Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, those are icons.
Hmm.
Until recently, the Flash has not become an icon. Until the CW show Flash, the Flash has not become a. Actually, I would take that back. I would say until Justice League, the Flash was not an icon. Justice League the animated series
Yeah.
brought Flash into the icon status.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I love that show, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. I mean, the cardboard world made of cardboard speech that Superman gave, loved it.
Mhm.
But that show brought Wally West into a lot of people's homes. and also brought Jon Stewart into a lot of people's homes. So I think those
Mm-hmm.
two are more acceptable as replacements than any of the other replacements, just because they are a generation's Green Lantern and Flash. So I think they're
Oh, yeah.
more accepted by fans.
Before I knew of who Kyle Rayner was or Hal Jordan, I was more familiar with Jon Stewart of all
Yeah,
characters, you know?
yeah, exactly. Because of the anime, you grew up on the anime series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like that whole generation is like, there's a whole generation who thought like that was the original Green Lantern, because that's who they grew up with, and that was the original Flash. So they were not known that much outside of like their only big um thing was the Flash had a series in the 90s, which actually I have right here. I have the DVD set right here. I also have the Wonder Woman DVD set. Um, Linda
Cool.
Carter. I'm watching them because of the because of DC Crisis. I've been watching these old shows, but also this is the '90s Flash. So like you had that, and you had Super Friends. That was it. Like those were the only things that you had, and those were like a long time ago. So kids that grew up in like the '90s, they didn't have that, and to them, Wally West was the Flash, and John Stewart was the Green Lantern. So I understand why Wally was accepted by the fandom, but I don't think like Luke Fox is going to last long as Batman. They're going to bring back Bruce Wayne. I mean, we all know that they're not going to leave Bruce Wayne. Like, their Batman is their money, their cash cow. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
screw with that. You know, that's like Marvel saying, okay, Spider-Man, you're going on vacation for a while. We're not going to use you anymore. And I mean, they done it in the '90s. They had Ben Riley, who is my favorite, but they're not going to replace him permanently. Peter Parker will always be Spider-Man in Marvel Comics. Always. They might replace him for a couple of minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, he's coming back. He's going to be Spider-Man.
I think the last person to replace Spider-Man was Otto, and we all knew Peter
Yeah,
was going to get his body back at some
yeah,
point.
exactly. It was a gimmick. We all knew it. You know.
Mhm.
So let's see.
Let's
It's it.
see. Looking at the comments.
Yeah. Terry
War.
said, except people loved Kyle Rayner and Wally West as Flash. They did not like Kyle Rayner, honestly. That's why they kept screwing with Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan he came back. They tried to redeem him in Darkest Night, in Final Night. That didn't last. People got mad because they killed Hal Jordan in that. They tried to redeem him as the Spectre. People got pissed about that, and then they finally gave him Rebirth, and people were happy again. Hal Jordan had a good fan base. I think if they would have put John Stewart in that role with the '90s and him being on Justice League, people would have accepted Hal's death more. I think.
Mhm.
All right.
Let's see. Warrior Born also agrees with us. Justice League animated series was awesome.
Let's see. Let me highlight that. I'm sorry, I was up a little bit, so let me just go there.
Hmm.
Trying to get Warrior Born. Justice League anime series was awesome. Yes, it was. Agree with that. Mike Manhattan, welcome to the show, says, I'd like to see Danica Williams Flash Beyond in the series. I wouldn't mind seeing her represented, because the Flash always did a legacy. Like, Flash has always been about legacy, so they always brought in that legacy characters. So I wouldn't mind seeing her, Jesse Quick, all those people. But I wouldn't want them to replace Barry again for a long period of time. The only one I would be okay with again is Wally, but they really screwed the pooch with Wally lately, so he has to be redeemed before they can replace him with him. So and let's see. I like to see Dick Grayson as Batman again with Robin. First of all, I would like to see Dick Grayson again. Because right now we have Rick Grayson, because people are offended by his name being Dick. Like, seriously? Like, he's been Dick for 80 freaking years, and now all of a sudden you're like, I'm offended by that. Get over yourselves. I mean, I'm really pissed about that whole Rick thing. It's stupid. Like they changed his name just because people thought his name was inappropriate in this time. Like why?
Honestly, I've referred to him as Dick for so long that it sounds normal. It didn't
Yeah,
offend me at all, you know?
yeah. I mean, maybe 5-year-olds go. I mean, like that's it. Like if you're snickering about that, if you don't see it as just a name, then there's something wrong with you.
Hmm.
JLS is here. He says hello, welcome JLS, welcome to the show. Um, Terry says I love Justice League the anime series, so Terry agrees with us as well. Um,
Yay. That's 4 people that look Justice League, the animated series.
Terry also says, what about Teen Lantern? We talked about her last week, so I don't think she's going to be replacing anybody. Honestly, I
Well,
just don't see
she,
her being that famous,
she
that
kind of
popular.
replaced Simon Baz as a new Lantern.
Yeah, Simon, I honestly feel bad for him. Like
Oh,
he just
yeah.
never been given that good shot. Like Jeff Johns, I think if he would have stayed on the book and gave him a little bit longer, he would have had a fan base. But I just don't see him having that fan base because no one really writes him. Everybody wants to focus on Jessica Cruz or one of the other, and that's the problem I think with having all these Earth Lanterns is that you
Hmm.
can't focus on all of them. You got to cut them out. So it would have been better if he was an off-worlder lantern.
I I would have loved to have actually seen him get a Black Label comic, Simon Baz.
That would be cool. I mean, you never
Mhm.
know. He could still, because Black Label, that's the thing. They're emerging with that. So, um, let's see. Mike Mann says, well, technically his name was Richard and can be shortened to Rick. So, did they really change it? Well, his nickname's always been Dick, and they changed it to Rick, and it's RIC, not RICK. It's only RIC. Uh, I still don't like that. Let's see. Poor Simon Baz, Terry says, and
Same here, Tavia. Poor Simon Baz.
I like him over Jessica because I think he has a lot of potential. Jessica, I
Hmm.
think, had her story, and like once she got over that, what was left to tell of her, Like
Right.
Simon Baz has this background in a story that is everlasting, because it's his religion, it's his upbringing, it's his whole way of life. Where Jessica Cruz, not Jessica Jones, Jessica Cruz's story was just her whole gimmick was she had that social anxiety disorder. She
Anxiety.
was stuck at home, and then once she broke free of that, what do you explore with it?
Hmm.
What do you explore when you overcome your fear of anxiety? What do you do?
Right. And I believe she had like a background in guns, I think. She was a marksman of some kind. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a story that explored that, right?
I don't. I honestly I don't remember. I know. Baz had a gun. He was the only Green
Yeah.
Lantern to ever carry a gun, which made him more interesting, I think, also because
Hmm.
he never wanted. He said the ring could always fail. This will not. So that's why he did that.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. What's your thoughts on the Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch? Is that in your top 5 tonight, or your least favorite?
Oh, which one again?
Is the Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch?
Oh, I didn't read that book.
Okay. Um, so I'll just give a fast opinion on that. It was an okay book. It wasn't it's not in my top 5. But it was an okay book. It's a little bit different seeing like Alfred like drinking and stuff, but um, it
Oh,
was
Alfred
okay.
drinking?
Well, yeah. At one point, Bruce comes home and Alfred's like just sitting up with his feet up on the table, shoes off, and he's just like, telling Bruce how it is. Like he hates that he goes out all the time, and he's just waiting to bury him. Like, so it's like Alfred's just having a real moment. So it's weird to see that, but it was an interesting story so far. I'm interested in seeing number 2 though.
Hmm.
All right, let's get a couple more of these, and then we'll go into the top 5. So, Warrior Born says, Hal Jordan got screwed over in the 90s. He went insane and absorbed the power of OS Central Battery. After Cyborg Superman bombed Coast City, but Jeff Johns retconned that. It was retconned, and then it was retconned, and then it was retconned. I mean, like, they try to reboot Hal Jordan so many times because fans were still pissed about what happened. And rightfully so, because he was just, like, screwed over. And they finally brought him back. And that's what I'm saying, like, when Terry said they actually accepted Kyle Rayner. They never really did. Otherwise, they never would have brought back Hal Jordan. They brought him back because fans couldn't accept that Hal Jordan wasn't Green Lantern.
Sorry, I'm just reading a comment from Mike Manhattan. Imagine Alfred getting really wasted. That would be an interesting comic itself.
It would be. It would be. I mean, come on. Seeing him just say, like, screw you, Bruce, or something like that. And Box Hype. Welcome to the show, Box Hype. He says, I'm assuming you're a he because of your icon. Says that was a great storyline though. I liked what they worked out with some of Hal Jordan stuff, but I just don't think that people did it. And if you're talking about Jessica Cruz, yeah, it was a great story. But as a longevity, what else does she do? You know? You need more than a one trick to be a long-term hero, you know? Like Batman isn't one trick, you know, his grief is going to follow him all his life because grief does follow you all your life, you know. So his grief and his vow always follows him. Hal Jordan is fearless, you know, that's his thing. It's something that you don't overcome, but she literally overcome her obstacle. Now, what is she without that? You know, that's why I want to see. What is she like without that? Give me something more with her.
Because, like, that's one thing that was bugging me. Like, because I remember back when she had a series with Simon Baz, that's one thing I didn't like, where it kept going back to her anxiety throughout the whole series, or at least the first part, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like I said, she's an interesting character. It's just that there is that little thing there that, you know, you're like, okay, but where do you go from here? I want them just to break through that because it's like, we keep regressing her to that point, and I don't want that. You know, I don't want the regression. I want the progression, and I think that's what that's what a lot of books have a problem with. Like, you can progress, even like Batman, Superman, Marvel. You got Captain America, Spider-Man. They can progress, but you can't always regress them. Like, you can't always say, okay, now we're gonna go back to this crutch because, you know, it's something that, you know, you had to go back to. If she overcome a fear or a thing, you worked at, you know, maybe she didn't fully overcome it, that I can accept, but just don't go back to where she's like way back in the beginning where she's like she can't, you know, create her images anymore, her effects, you know, she can't create those anymore.
100% agree with that.
All right, let's go into our top 5 and all that. So that was the hot topics this week. Again, you can share your whatever you guys want me to and whoever the co-host is every week to talk about. Throw those comments in the Discord. Throw those news articles in the Discord. There's a hot topics room for that. All you gotta do is post an article from a site that you want us to talk about, or just post the news. Like if you want to say, hey, the casting of so and so, you know, let us know that, you know, because I want the hot topics to be not just news I find interesting, but news that you guys find interesting too. Because I don't know, I think if you just hear everything I think, or, you know, the co-host and myself think, it's not. I want you guys to be a part of the show. So, you know, and that's why I ask you guys to always post that in there. One more thing. If DC ever, Mike Mann says, if DC ever decided to bring back Linda Danvers into the DC universe, how do you think she would be brought back? I think if they do another Crisis event, would be the perfect time to do it. Because she was last seen outside of time. We all know that Fallen Angel is supposed to be her. But, yeah, you guys can ask questions, or Born. Yeah, so if you guys like, if they go to another Crisis or Flashpoint type event, they can bring her out from that time and have her return as Supergirl and maybe work the world a little differently. I wouldn't mind if she was someone different than Supergirl. Maybe she could be Superwoman. We could finally get a stable Superwoman. Let's see. Box Icon says, as a force ghost joking. Let's see. Wait. Terry also says, how will they bring back Wally's kids back in the DC universe? If they reboot the original timeline, that's all. They're just bringing them back. They're not gone. They're just missing. Apparently, there's a rumor we might begin a Crisis 2020. Yeah, that's all connected to the 5G thing. That's how they're going to do it all. So we'll see what comes out of that. Again, we don't know what's coming out of it, but let's see what comes out of that whole situation. So let's go to the our least favorites. Do you have a least favorite this week?
Yes, I actually do. It is a least favorite. I didn't hate it. It just I wasn't excited for it. It was Miles Morales Spider-Man number 11.
Dude, that's mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just hated the way he broke free like that. It's like everybody else is possessed and no one can break free, but Miles Morales can say, "No, I won't do this," and he breaks free. I'm like, seriously, a kid, a grown hero can't do that, but a kid can break free from a symbiote that fast. That just
Oh,
like
no, this was Miles Morales Spider-Man number 11.
okay. I'm sorry. I
Carnage.
thought you meant Absolute Carnage Miles Morales. All right,
I
I
was
forgot.
actually debating on which two, but
All right, so we both have a Miles Morales book.
yes, exactly.
All right. So what did you not like about this, or why was it your least favorite?
It's just nothing really grasped me with this book, to be honest. Like the only thing that really excited me was towards the end, the little cliffhanger where Miles was going to be facing off against Prowler, but that's literally the cover of this book.
Yeah.
So they spoiled that.
Yeah, I hate when they do that. Like if they're gonna be in just like that one ending page, like don't put them on the cover. Like save that for the ending page. Like you put something else on that cover. If they're a part of this whole book, then yeah, put them on the cover.
Yep. And also going back to that Miles Morales Absolute Carnage tie-in, yeah, I just haven't been liking all these Absolute Carnage tie-ins overall.
Me either.
They've been
so filler.
They've been disappointing to me, and I had such high hopes, honestly.
I agree. I agree. I don't think that they're worth it. But Miles Morales again breaking that Carnage hold, I was like, so no one else can do it, but he can.
Trying to think, is there any other character that would? No, not really. I can't think of any.
Well,
Anybody
I don't
else?
think any of the people who are being possessed don't want to be possessed. Like so I think if they were like Mac Gargan, I think he would have been able to like break free. But again, they saved him before he got possessed. But I just think like to show him being able to do that is just it weakens the Carnage symbiotes to begin with, because it makes them, because then you're thinking, well, why can't everybody just say no, I don't want to do this, and then break free.
Agreed.
All right, let's see if there's any more top fives in the top five countdown. Top five on the Discord, because I know Tevye added his, so I'll check that. I think Tevye is the only one this week. And you guys, again, you can check out the Discord. You can put your least favorite, your top five, all that stuff in there. Tevye is the Superman number 16. Good God, the story. Sucked as a fan of the Super Sons. This reunion sucked. I mean, dear God, Bendis made John and Damian dynamic, really weird and creepy that it wasn't even fun to read, and not to mention the ending with John Kent going to the future again and leaving his friend Damian Wayne and family again really pisses me off because come on, we just got him back. Why are they shoving him away to the Legion of Superheroes? This is garbage. Screw this book. This was the final straw for me. I'm done with this garbage. See you when
That's a
you
lot
pick
of
up
straws.
Legion. Yeah. See you
That's
when
a
you pick
lot of
up Legion of
straws.
Superhero. Oh yeah. Tevye has been saying that for a while, but I'll see you when you pick up Legion of Superhero, Tevye, because I know you're gonna pick that up and you're gonna be complaining about that. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, on to the top five. My number five for first time is Event Leviathan, number five.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I honestly like this because I saw some progression with it, but they kept the mystery up. Who is
Mm-hmm.
Leviathan? They gave you tied to um, Samuel Kent. They gave you Samuel Lane. They gave you a tie to the original Manhunter. So who is Leviathan? I like that they kept that mystery up. I also like that the little chase that they gave with the Bat team, and I love that Lois. Everybody they underestimate Lois, but she's smart, and her stealing the bat the Batmobile so Batman can listen in was really smart for her to do. But I'm looking forward to next issue to seeing who Leviathan is and where this event leads us. So did you
I
read
mean,
this one?
unfortunately, I dropped off of the Superman books by Menace a while ago.
Okay.
It just it just didn't really grasp me.
Yeah. Oh, I understand it. I like it. I don't love his Superman, but I like it. I can understand what he's doing with it. I don't always agree with what he's doing, but it's better
Hmm.
than the New 52 for me.
Right.
And so I dealt with the New 52 for 5 years. I can deal with him for a couple more years. He's not the villain that everybody's painting him out to be. He is
Mhm.
writing a good Superman, just not the way I would want him to be written. So
If only his name was covered in the book, right? I want to see what people would really think of the stories.
I know. So what was your number five?
My number five, is actually Gwenpool Strikes Back number 3. This was this was I enjoyed this book overall. This was her version of a swimsuit edition, and I love I love the little panel of the Stucky moment where she pointed at Cap and Bucky like, "Hey, you two look good together. You should wrestle."
Oh, I know you posted that on the Discord. I was like, oh my god. I It's just only Gwenpool could say that. Like I think she's the only character, or her or Deadpool could actually say that, and no one else could
Oh,
get away with saying that.
oh yeah, definitely. And I do know some Stucky fans out there, so they enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there, he is that is a couple that's been shipped, especially given the MCU and the bromance that they had in there. So like a lot of
Hmm.
people have been really doing it since the MCU and probably since Civil War. When that bromance took on a whole new level and people
Oh yeah.
really was like, oh, they're a couple. And, they really start shipping it then. But
And
yeah,
then and then
I can definitely
and then
understand where people see that.
after Endgame, when Steve and Peggy met, got married. That was the death of Stucky.
If that was really Steve, and if what he says is true,
Right.
I still think it was a scroll. Because I mean, come on, he had the whole MCU Cap Bucky relationship is like their big bromance, right? And
Hmm.
then he picks Sam, who he barely knows, to succeed him. I'm like, that doesn't fly. Like, he's like he turned against Tony and everybody he knew and was friends with for Bucky, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, here Sam, you can have my shield.
I'm just like such a big fan of the whole Falcon being Cap that I'm kind of like a little bit overlooking that little detail. Yeah, you do have a point there. So only time will tell if he really is a scroll or not.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind, the handoff. Just in that universe, it doesn't fit, Like, he
Hmm.
doesn't have the relationship he has in the comic books with Sam in the movies. He just met Sam in the movies. So to him, just to be like, here, it's yours, and not Bucky, my best friend, my brother from another mother. It's just yours. It's that just doesn't like seem very in character for me. So that's why I just it's like he has to be a scroll.
Right. And let's see. Anything else to say about this book? Oh yeah, Immortal Hulk also makes a appearance here too. And so, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's really it.
and the one thing I liked about that was when she addressed like the people who were only designed originally conceived to be hot, like She-Hulk, and then She-Hulk doesn't look anything hot anymore. She's
Oh
just a
yeah.
hot mess anymore. I mean, they made She-Hulk one of the most well drawn characters, female characters in comic books into someone that is not even recognizable to her fans anymore.
Yeah, I'm not like a big She-Hulk fan, but yeah, even I agree with that. Like I really do not like the design she's going through right now.
No.
Like
You know what she reminds me of? Did you ever watch the Hulk in the '90s, the cartoon on UPN or whatever? I think it was UPN. Um, remember that the leader created those
oh,
other Hulks, and that weird cave girl Hulk. I can't remember her name. She
I know who
reminds me
you're
of
talking.
her. She
Yeah.
reminds me of her.
Was she ever into comics, I wonder?
Yeah, they were. They were in the comics, but I just can never remember her name. I can never remember their names because it was a group of them, and that's who she reminds me of. Like, because she even talks like a cave person, like a cave woman. She just reminds me so much of that Hulk from there, that cartoon. Every time I see her, I think of her like that. And Warrior Born said he's in case I didn't know, he's Honey Badger from Discord. Yeah, I said that glad to see you from Discord. So
Hmm.
yeah, you
Oh
might have
yeah.
heard that earlier, but yeah, I knew that you were Honey Badger.
Yeah.
It's,
Glad you could be here, Honey Badger. He's a
yeah,
friend of
me
mine
too.
that we've known for years, so
Yeah, and I've recently got to know him, so it's a really cool cool to see you on here and joining us. And he says he was all right, but I hated the Falcon turned the cat mantle into a political activist. The idea of Captain America was that he was supposed to be a symbol. He's supposed to stay out of the politics. I agree with that in the comic books. But again, this is not the comic book, so I'm open to see what Sam brings to it in the movies as opposed to what he brought to in the comic books. That was Nick Spencer standing on his soapbox and speaking through Sam. So that's what you saw. Um, let's see. Okay, so let me read
yeah.
Tevius.
I'm just reading Tevia's comic. I am actually excited for Falcon Cap. Yay, someone else is excited for that.
No, in the MCU, I'm excited to see what that is. So like Falcon and Bucky, I'm excited for that series. I want to see what it is. But I
I'm
do agree with Warrior Born for what they did with him in the comics. Like I don't
mm-hmm,
think what they did with him in the comics was what Captain America should be about. And again, that was Nick Spencer, who's very political. In case anybody who
mm-hmm.
doesn't know Nick Spencer's history, he was actually in politics for a while. Like
I heard
he
about
was
that.
yeah, he was actually in politics. So when he writes, he does write his political beliefs into character. And I don't even think those political beliefs belong to Sam. Like they weren't in Sam's character as a character onto himself. They didn't feel like Sam. It's just again, Nick Spencer got on his soapbox and used Sam as his vehicle to write that. But
Mm-hmm,
I'm not objecting to him being, a hero or seeing him in the MCU as Captain America. I'm looking forward to see how they do it and do it
mm-hmm.
without Nick Spencer's voice. Like that's what I'm excited about seeing. If they
Gotcha.
would not do it with Nick Spencer's voice, how they would handle it.
I'm actually most excited about like the Captain America mythology being explored in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, because you're also going to have U.S. Agent and
Yeah,
Sharon Carter there too. So
yeah, I'm definitely down for that. I like U.S. Agent. Um, uh, I always like to create like my little ideal teams of people, and I
yeah,
always
damn.
put U.S. Agent as like on my Invaders team. I always like
Oh
him
yeah.
as an because I think the Invaders should be like the Avengers should be like the Justice League. They're the epitome of what a team should be in the Marvel universe. I think the Invaders should be like they could do the dirty work that the Avengers can't do. Like
I would
the
love to
Avengers
see that.
are and Avengers are reactive. The Invaders are proactive.
Hmm.
So I always think that he should be the leader of that team, like Captain America is for the Avengers, and then like give him some of those people who aren't afraid to do it. Like again, Rhodey could be the Iron Man on that team because Rhodey is a military person. He's
Or
he's acceptable to do that kind of stuff. He doesn't care about going and doing stuff that gets your hands dirty. As long as it's for the greater good.
that sounds like the Howling Commandos. Honestly, you have
Yeah,
U.S. Agent, you have War Machine, or you could go as Iron Patriot for all we care.
yeah. I mean, I like that's why like whenever I do a team, I always put U.S. Agent on there, like my Invaders team. Like I always set up my own teams, and we all do that. We all say, oh,
Hmm.
this is my dream team of this team. We all have that. I think anybody who's into comic books has done that. So so yeah, I always like US Agent. I'm glad to see him being in the MCU. So I'm
Hmm.
willing to see what again,
I just
all the MCU stuff, and we didn't talk about it, but Disney today dropped like a 3 hour freaking trailer of Disney Plus. It
oh
was a 3 hour trailer of everything coming to Disney Plus.
wow,
It's
I
like
got that.
humongous. Yeah, you have to take 3 hours of your life and watch it. But it shows like it's basically all their back catalog, what's new coming out, everything. There's a lot of back catalog in there. Like if
Hmm.
it's Disney, it's on there. Like that's basically what they're saying. But they showed you so much. Again, 3 freaking hours. That's the longest trailer in history.
Wow. Tevia's like 3 hours. Forget that.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of people. If you go to their Twitter page, the Disney Plus Twitter page, it's like just filled with images of shows and movies and stuff like that they are coming onto. It's like they just was like posting. They were tweeting mad. They were tweeting so much today. It was a trending topic. Because just from their posts alone, you know.
Hmm.
But Warrior Born says, yes, I am definitely excited for the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Falcon and Winter Soldier have a very funny dynamic in the movies that I hope carries on in the show. I hope so too. I don't mind their dynamic. I think they have a nice sibling rivalry type thing, and big brother, little
I,
brother living.
I think Sebastian and Anthony and Tom Holland all have a good friendship in real life too. Think like a sibling relation.
Oh yeah, definitely. They definitely do, and I like that. I think like their relationship is really. I think it goes. I think it goes by the actors, and then the actors brought it to the screen because when you see them like on talk shows, that's how they act. Like they're still doing that stuff like in real life. So I think it's very fitting for that. So let's go on to Terrius number 5, which is Supergirl number 35. A way better story than Bendis Leviathan nonsense. But personally, in my opinion, I'm just burnt out with Leviathan infecting every single Superman book, and that isn't funny. But stupid. Can we please just have Supergirl fight bad guys instead of another Brainiac drone? Please, no crap. Um,
And no final straws for that pick.
I didn't like that they put her in that black diaper costume. Like for some reason, for like 2 pages, she like transformed into this costume and she went back into her other costume. Like why? Like remember that costume that they said was supposed to be during the whole Rogolzar costume
Yeah.
when she was supposed to go in space. She never wore that really, but
Wasn't that the
for
one where she was holding a weapon too?
yeah, she wasn't holding a weapon here. She just like she went charging after Leviathan, and her suit changed over to this other suit, and then after Leviathan left, it went back. Like, why? Like, what was the point of changing her suit? I have
Hmm.
no idea. I don't think they have an idea of it either. Um, it was just out of place for me. All right. I'm going to read Tevia's number 4 before we go into ours. So Tevia has Justice League Odyssey, a great story about Jessica Cruz and the rest of the gang going up against Darkseid and trying to stop him is really awesome. But holy crap, that ending with Orion being the guy under the mask, I didn't see that coming, and I can't wait to see what happens next. All right. Cryptid, what was your number?
Okay, going back to the whole suit discussion earlier, my number 4 was the Magnificent Miss Marvel number 8.
Ah,
I actually like the issue. I like the fight between Kamal and her friends and Monopoly, Discord, and I can't remember her name. What was it? Lockdown?
I think so. I think so.
Lockdown, yeah. And by the end, it starts to imply that there's something going on with Kamala's suit. It
Yeah.
might, it's starting to, maybe it might turn on her.
Mm-hmm. Which,
Yep.
which shouldn't she know since she is like the Marvel fangirl of the Marvel universe that you don't take costumes from aliens in the Marvel universe? They never end up, especially symbiotic type costumes, they never end well for you. I mean, like, didn't she learn anything from her time talking to Spider-Man?
I would love I would love it if like down the line Spider-Man makes a appearance here and kind of says, Miss Marvel, maybe you should be thinking this whole, suit thing. I
Yeah,
speak from experience.
never take suits from aliens. Don't take candies from strangers, and don't take suits from aliens. That's a little something that you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I did like this issue. I just I think there's still a little bit something missing from Miss Marvel for me. Something's missing. I can't put my finger on what that is, but something is missing that hasn't had it in my top 5 lately. Like there's just that I don't know. It's that unseen thing that you can't put your finger on, and I just can't put my finger on it. But um, I did enjoy this one better than previous ones, so I do agree with you there. It's a little bit of a step up, and I did like this where she broke free of Monopoly was better than Miles breaking free of Carnage. This I like better because it was about her suit, not about her. It was the suit
Right.
and it helped progress that story. So I did like that better. I did like that way that they executed that story point.
Cool. So yeah, what was your number 4?
Um, let's see. My number 4 was actually Power Rangers: The Psychopath original graphic novel.
Okay, yeah, I actually did read that book too.
I liked it. It's not the book that a lot of people were expecting. Because honestly, I
Mhm.
say Boom screwed up with the solicitation for this. They did. The solicitation said they were going to explore the origins of the Psycho Rangers, and they didn't. They really just explored the Psycho Rangers evolving. That's what they should have marketed as the evolution of the Psycho Rangers, which I did like. I'm not 100% agreeing with the way that they did it. For me, I would have personally have used their original personalities coming back, their original memories coming back due to the damaged data cards, and have them like
Mhm.
flashback to being the original person, before Astronomy changed them. And I would have used that as instead of like, oh, Psycho Green is just tinkering with them, and now they're different. I would have used it as their original personalities re-emerging. And I think that would have been better for me. But I do like where they ended up, where we don't know. Will they be friends? Will they be foe? If they're evil, they're evil by choice now, not by programming. They're not
Hmm.
evil because they want to kill the Power Rangers. They have different modes. They have different everything they do now is their own free will. So I do like that. It makes them more dangerous now because we don't know what they're up to, what they're going to be. They could be helping, they could be hurting. We don't know.
Right. I mean, for me, I came into here as like a new reader. Well, I shouldn't say new
Yeah.
reader. I kept up with the Power Rangers all the way up till SPD, and In
Hmm.
Space and Lost Galaxy were my favorite Power Rangers. And I love the Psycho Rangers, by the way.
Oh, me
So
too. I actually have red and blue and the lightning collection figures.
cool. I just personally love villainous versions of heroes, in case anybody doesn't know that. But
And
yeah.
they're good. The villains, the opposite numbers are actually fun for me too. I like
Mhm.
opposite numbers too.
Gotcha. So yeah, coming into this, it wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest. I was kind of like almost expecting like, almost a guns blazing, like the Psycho Rangers showing how strong and evil they are.
Hmm.
But I was surprised it was more of a redemption story, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they should have solicited it a little differently.
Hmm.
Let people know it's the evolution of the Psycho Rangers and not an exploration of them. I
Hmm.
think by saying it's going to be discovered the origins of the Psycho Rangers really made people think we're going to get the classic Psycho Rangers from In Space and Lost Galaxy, and
Hmm.
we weren't given that. We were given the evolution of them, and which is again I'm okay with because I think now they're more dangerous because we don't know what the hell they're going to do next time we see them. But I do
Right.
agree with you that it was again. I think that's on Boom's fault when they solicited that book. They solicited a whole different book. They solicited the origins of the Psycho Rangers, which led you to believe we're going to get the classic Psycho Rangers going, I must kill the Power Rangers,
Hmm.
going at the people, blowing things up. And their preview that I put up on the comic Phanatic that they sent out shows you that beginning, which was all about them being psychotic and blowing stuff up,
Hmm.
killing someone. So you're expecting that to be it. And then they gave you a switch after that. It's like right after that preview, the real story begins. So I
Right.
do see your point there, and I said this on other discords and other chats that I've been in with Power Rangers, with Power Ranger fans. I understand like people's frustrations about it, but I can also see why people like it, and I do like it because again I think they're more dangerous now than ever before.
Cool. So where do the Psycho Rangers go from here, I wonder? Is there gonna be like a upcoming Power Rangers book involving them, or?
I will say this: I talked to someone who's hinted at that they might be showing up somewhere. There's a hint of it that we might be seeing them somewhere, but I wouldn't say it would be anytime soon. So,
Oh.
but I did talk to someone who kind of hinted and implied that to me. I can't say anything more than that, but it was hinted and implied that we might be seeing more of the cycles soon. So,
Okay.
um,
Cool.
so I like it. Again, not my favorite one. I gave this 4 stars. Well, 4 Powerballs. I always do the Powerful rating
Hmm.
for Power Ranger book. So, yeah, I gave it 4. I thought it was solid, but it wasn't like my strongest. It wasn't the strongest one out there.
Hmm. Cool.
All right, so let's see.
That was your
Let's see.
three, right?
That was my number 4. We didn't get on
Oh,
to our threes yet.
yeah.
Let me just read what Terry wrote. He said, I don't think Marvel talked to Spider-Man about symbiotes. No, I don't think Miss Marvel did. And then says, I miss the parents knowing Miss Marvel's Kamala Khan is their daughter. Um, I'm torn on that. Part of me likes that they don't know, and part of me likes that when they did know. Because I think a hero needs some anonymity. I think just to be, to separate their lives, I think they do need that anonymity at times. Certain heroes like Miss Marvel is okay to be public because she's more of a soldier, and Captain America, those are soldiers. So I'm okay with them being in it. But then there's some people who should have their secret identity secret, so I'm okay either way with her story. All right, so let's go into your number 3. What was yours?
My number 3 is Invaders number 10.
The Invaders we were just talking about.
Yeah. Invaders has been a very slow book for me, but there are points I like. Right here, Cap and Bucky infiltrate Atlantis by becoming Atlanteans themselves, which that was pretty neat. And I liked how by the end, Captain America and Namor, they both become humans, and are stranded on an island together. Namor's been going through like this whole dark phase, and so to
Yeah.
see that both stranded on an island together, forced to survive or forced to actually talk to each other, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I like Invaders, and again, I agree with you. It is a slow burn book, and that's not good for Invaders. Like as a whole, Invaders doesn't have a good shot with running, good long runs, because fans want like their classic Avengers and all that. And I think that's why they put
Exactly.
Captain America in here, though, because it does give you that anchor to that team. But I do think they need to pick up the storyline a little bit faster and not make it such a slow burn for people if they wanted to keep on succeeding. Because I really do like the Invaders as a whole, and I like
Oh,
this
same
book.
here. I love the
Yeah,
Invaders.
I think it's an overlooked team in the Marvel universe. Like everybody looks to the Avengers and the Champions and X-Men and all that. No one really looks at the Invaders. Like you know, they're the forgotten child. You just forget
Yep.
about them.
And it also doesn't help much that like the first volume of this Invaders run, it was more so of a Namor book, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that
And
that threw me off, you know.
hmm
hmm
but
Nothing
I
against Namor. It's
no
just
no
I'm
I
not
like
a
Namor.
yeah.
I think some characters deserve. We were talking about it on the Discord about the edgy characters, the cocky characters. Namor is a perfect example of one that I like, who is a jerk. He is a
Yep.
jerk, and he's unapologetic. And honestly, if you're going to be a jerk, I'd rather you be a Namor and be unapologetic about it. Than be one of
hmm
those who are jerks, but they feel bad that they are jerks. Like Namor doesn't give a crap. He's like, this is who I am. You don't like it, go screw yourself. He's fine with who he is, and I like that. I like that he is.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah, he's so secure in himself. He doesn't give a shit what people think, and I like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think I'm jerky, but I'm like that with Namor. Like I'm like Namor in that way where I don't give a shit what people think about me. Like I'm secure in myself to not care what people think. So I
Mhm.
understand him in that point. So I relate to him in that point. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that Namor's in here and he is getting some spotlight because he is a hard character to get a spotlight with. And
Mhm.
this book actually made me think today because I actually read this one today because I had a couple books I had to do last minute reading with, and this book when I read it, I was like, it would be so cool if we get an Invaders in the Marvel universe. If they ever get their full rights to Namor again, I would love to see the Invaders be in there. You can
I
always
mean,
use Bucky and Cap as flashbacks.
Human Torch, Jim Hammond made a small cameo in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you can always bring him in now, especially because you don't have to worry about the
I've always
whole using the Human Torch name.
I really would have loved to have seen a reaction between Jim Hammond and Chris Evans, Captain America. Just meet face to face.
I hope they do that. Like now that they have the rights to that stuff, all they need is just Namor now. That's the one thing, and I think once they get that, they will do a whole Invaders thing, and they have to have that moment where it would be really cool if they have it, like them meet in the present, and then have like all three Human Torches meet each other. Whoever the new Fantastic Four Human Torch would be, the Jim Hammond one, and then the Captain America, Chris
Yeah.
Evans. All three of them just look at each other and be like, just that awkward moment, like, okay, what do we do? Like,
Yeah.
especially if they cast people who look kind of like Chris Evans, like, because, they both are, all three of them are blonde hair, blue eye guys, so you could get someone who looks like Chris Evans for both of those, because in the
Mm-hmm.
comic books, they are those, that is their style, type. Um, Barbara Campbell's in the comments. Welcome, Barbara Campbell. And he says, poor invaders.
Or invaders. Oh, or
I
Namor.
do feel bad for them.
I feel bad for Namor as well. He's gone through a lot of stuff over
Yeah.
over the past couple
Well,
of years.
he did get his head ripped off and kicked by who
Hyperion.
Hyperion,
Hyperion.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you gotta feel bad for the guy. I do feel bad for him, but also you like that he gets crapped on by people because he's so conceited, It's good that when he gets taken down a notch, but you do feel bad that he gets ignored in the comics.
Right.
Warrior Born says Namor is extremely underrated. He is. Honestly, I see it this way. You have Black Panther, who's the king of a nation, who is always seen as like, a pivotal character. Then you have Namor, who's also the king of a nation, but he's seen as like a lesser character, and I hate that. Like Namor, and he's the first mutant. He is the first mutant in comics. Marvel didn't have mutants before Namor. Namor was the first mutant, and then they created the X-Men as mutants. But in the comic books, I know, in actual history, in the
Yeah.
comic books, it was Abin Sur, Apocalypse. But in the actual history of Marvel, Namor was the very first mutant, and he was the first mutant hero anyway in the Marvel universe. So I think I did like their rivalry that they had before Secret Wars. No, not Secret War. What was it?
So many secrets.
Yeah, it's the one where Infinity, right before Infinity, where Black Bolt blew up the Terrigen Mist. It was right
I
before
think that
that.
was or yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, it was Infinity.
Yeah.
And it was right before that. Namor and Black Panther were at war with each other, Wakanda and Atlantis. That was then it was just dropped and forgotten. Like it was just forgotten.
That's because of the whole AVX thing. Namor flooded Atlantis. I really would have loved to have seen that storyline, Atlantis versus Wakanda.
Yeah, I think that would have been great to explore a little bit further. All right, let's move on. My number 3 is Future Fight First White Fox #1. Love this exploration of her story. We got to find out White Fox's origin. Badass. I love that, the inner monologue with her was really great. I loved hearing her inner monologue. I also liked that her friend wasn't like, oh, I don't know who this mysterious person is. She heard the voice, she said the name, she knew it. And I like that the gang member was the people who were hunting her who killed her mother. So I like it. The more I learn of White Fox, the more I'm drawn to her. So I really love what they're doing with the Asian characters. Go ahead.
Right. I like mythology, right? So I like that they explored, the Korean mythology.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, she's basically essentially the Korean Kitsune. So
I think they call her Miho, I think it was.
Yeah.
Miho.
Yeah. So it's a shapeshifter who turns into a fox and she devours men's hearts. So I really like it. I thought it was a really great one. Even the backup story was really cool. With the team of Hydra agents. Like when I read that, I was like, Cryptid, because you're the Hydra guy. Whenever I think of Hydra, I think of you. So I was like,
I started
to like these
Hydra, so I didn't. So your argument.
I was like, he has to like these kids. What did you think about those kids at the end of that in that backup story?
I gotta be honest. When I didn't know there was gonna be half a story of the future Avengers. I was actually kind of like a little disappointed by that, to be honest. With White Fox, I've been loving her character, but
Hmm.
one ongoing problem I've noticed is every time I read White Fox, I only get a slice of her. Like in Agents of Atlas, great in Agents of Atlas, but she has to share it out with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
In Hot Shots, I liked her in Hot Shots, but she had to share it out with the rest of the team. She even had a story in Marvel Comics Presents, one of
Mhm.
those issues. She had a story, but she had to share that with like two other stories.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping, like, when I heard she was going to get her own issue, that the whole issue was going to be about her.
Yeah. See, I don't expect that with these books, just because um the way that they've done with what was it, Arrow, and what
Hmm.
they've done with
Swordmaster.
uh
Oh, wait, yeah,
Swordmaster.
Swordmaster.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
difference is I thought the backup story would be another White Fox story as well, or White Fox and someone else, like a team
Oh,
up, like they do
I would
Arrow
have
and
loved.
Wave.
I would have loved that actually, or maybe have White Fox team up with Black Widow or something like that.
Yeah, I would have loved something like that. So I did expect that, but I did not expect a whole story to be her. Like I did not
Hmm.
expect one whole book being about her. I did expect it to be a backup story in there, just
Hmm.
because of what they've been doing with the rest of them. Um, and again, I love what they're doing with the Agent of Atlas characters. I just freaking love it. I think it's such a great one.
I
And
have not.
carrying, go ahead.
I have not been disappointed by any single Agents of Atlas character or series.
Me
So
either.
yeah.
And I love that they brought in, they had it start off with the Agents of Atlas thing in the beginning, with
Yep.
Jimmy Woo talking about them. So I did like that little tie-in, that little connective tissue there. So I did like it.
True.
It was a great book. I mean, I really love this book. Um,
Hmm.
and I
I
just
just
want more.
I want like a whole maybe a mini series of White Fox maybe sometime in the
Yeah,
future. Like
yeah,
after Arrow and Swordmaster are once they're over, I would love it if Marvel could give White Fox and Luna Snow and
Crescent.
Crescent their own series, mini
Yeah,
series.
yeah, definitely. Let me know more about these characters, because the more I know about them, the more I'm loving them. Every time I see them in a book, I go grab that book. I make sure that I read that book first. Because I'm
Oh
so drawn into these, and it's like this, and it's not. I don't feel like anything's forced with the characters. We're not getting
mhm.
anything forced on us with them. So I really like it. I thought it was such a great book. I mean, what they're doing with these characters is phenomenal.
Yep.
I can't stop saying enough good things about them. Like I just feel like this is this is something that I've been waiting for from Marvel to get me excited with, and I hope they keep going. I just hope it doesn't, I know we're going to get them in. I think Agents of Atlas is going to appear in the incoming
uh,
event.
Incoming, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Warrior Born says that was Infinity. Yeah. Okay. I thought
mhm.
it was. Um,
There's
let
so
me
many
just pop that
events. How
up.
can you keep them all straight?
Yeah, it was like, especially with Marvel, because Marvel goes from one event to another event to another event to another event to three more events. Like last
Mhm.
year, I think we had 6 events at one time, like in Marvel Universe. So it's a little bit hard to keep up with Marvel sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's our passion for the comics. That's why we do it. But um, all right, so let me read off Tevia's number 3, and we'll go on to number 4. Number 2. Uh, Tevia's has Spawn 301. Spawn going to war against heaven and hell is epic, and him getting an army of hell spawn. Yeah, that was is epic, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the story. It's epic, and I love it. Yeah, Tom McFarlane actually closed the Spawn number 301. Is going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records
Oh,
for the
really?
longest running independent comic book.
Cool.
Yep. Um, you know, honestly, I don't always agree with the book. The Savage Dragons, Eric Larson should be in there because dude has been writing Savage Dragon and drawing Savage Dragon nonstop for like 22 years now, 23 years. So like he definitely deserves to be um named with something.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear Savage Dragon now, I always think of it being a triple X book now.
It is.
Yeah,
It definitely is. I mean,
it still
you
is.
know, it's pretty much is. Like they're supposed to be exploring her dealing with what happened, but it's still an excuse for them to show sexual stuff, Again, I just think someone's not getting enough at home. That's all I'm gonna say. I was I was brought up. Those who have to talk about it constantly are not getting it. So that something's going on where you gotta keep exploring that in a book.
That's funny. That's probably me the one thing I'll always know of Savage Dragon. I'll always think of.
I think a lot of people right now, you got into it or you read it in the last like year or two. That's all you're gonna think that book ever was. I'm sure there are people who were like really into that. Like the hentai people who are really into like animated and comic book porn, and they were probably like, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy all these back issues," and then they got disappointed when they saw it wasn't like that before.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go on to our number 2. I'm going to read Tevius real fast. And Tevius says, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 31. While not really absolute carnage tie-in, I got to admit that the story about Kindred talking to Norman Osborn is really interesting and really intriguing. And I'm very intrigued on who is Kindred. My best guess is probably Harry Osborn, most likely because it would actually make a tons of sense. Not to mention, it would finally get me closer and closer to my dream. One more day finally being undone. I don't understand how that would make it undone. I know Harry came back in one more day, but I don't think it will make it undone. And I said it was either going. My 2 top guesses are still Flash Thompson or Harry Osborn.
Ah.
Those are still my 2 top guesses.
Did you read Spider-Man this week?
Yes, I did.
I
Not
couldn't
actually
read it.
excited with it.
I didn't read it because again, all these tie-ins kind of let me
Yeah,
down, so I had to cut a few tie-ins down.
it's honestly it's part tie-in, but it's mainly the Kindred story. Honestly, that's what the main crux of it is. The only thing is that Kindred is talking to Norman Osborn behind his cell wall, and this is supposed to be before the fight. So most of the issue is him talking to Norman before he he goes and fights Peter Parker later on. Um, and he's just saying, like, oh, how he, treated Harry so poorly, and why was he always obsessed with Peter Parker? He would never know. Was he jealous of Peter and all this stuff? And then he, you know, puts a little centipede in his head that won't let him hurt Spider-Man. He won't be able to kill Spider-Man because he's like, if you try to kill him, you're not going to be able to. So every time he like try to kill him, like he would get this bad, excruciating pain and be thrown back and not be able to kill Spider-Man. And
Oh
then
wow.
Spider-Man gets up and he's like, I'll stop you once and for all because he's about to go full Jack Nicholson. Here's Johnny. Like he breaks through the door with the 2 little kids there, and like I thought that because like we get a shot inside the room with the kids, and then Norman's like halfway in with his body, and I just want him to say, "Here's Norman," or since he thinks he's Cletus, here's
Here.
Cletus.
Yes.
Just something to give me a throwback because visually it was there. Visually that joke was there, but they didn't go for it. I'm like, it's Spider-Man. Jokes are supposed to be there. But yeah, it wasn't really a Carnage tie-in, absolute Carnage tie-in. It was actually more of a very slight tie-in with more of the Kindred story being told. So I still think it's either Flash or Harry. I've been saying that from the very beginning because the way he acts, the way he speaks, it has to be someone who knows Peter intimately, and that's going to be either Flash or Harry. I can see Harry because his father is a jerk, the way he treated him, but he never calls Norman father. He never calls him his dad. He always refers, whenever he's talking about Harry, he says him, like you did that to him, not me. So, but he always says like Norman is responsible for him being there.
Right.
Norman also killed Flash. Norman killed Flash.
Mm.
So it could be it could be Flash. It could be Harry. Either way, those are my two guesses.
Only
Um,
reason why I wouldn't want it to be Flash is because I feel like he's still not that too far away from Flash's death. Like
eh, it's
well,
about
that's
a year and a half. That's normal for Marvel.
Marvel.
Marvel's between a year and 2 years tops, like you
Mhm.
normally come back. So I'm okay with it, especially because I don't like that he died. Like I never liked that he died. Um, I like the story of his death, like his eulogy. I love that scene. That was a great thing. But I don't like, that they actually killed him.
Mhm. Understandable.
All right. So I'll give my number two real fast. My number two was a Black Label book, which is
Oh.
Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. Another great Harley Quinn book. I mean, Black Label knows how to do freaking Harley Quinn right. I talked last week about Harleen
Right.
from 2 weeks ago. This was another well done Harley book. In this book, did you read it?
I didn't read it actually.
Okay.
So
You should definitely check it out. It's really well done. In this book, Harley had a girlfriend, okay, and
really, was it
or
Poison
a
Ivy?
no. This is before her Harley Quinn days. She's not Harley Quinn here. Well, she
Oh,
is Harley Quinn, but she's a doctor. She's a profiler. She's a
okay. So she's
psychiatrist. She's a profiler for the Gotham PD. Because 5 years ago, a serial killer named the Joker
hmm,
killed her fiance, who was a woman, um, also a medical resident, medical student, um, killed her, and Harley found her in the tub, dead, and that was the Joker's last kill, and that made her become a study of psychology and um, study to help the Gotham PD with profiling criminals and all that. So she's on the hunt for the Joker, and she's also at the same time helping the Gotham PD with other serial killers and stuff like that. Um, so it was interesting to see if this Harley becomes the Harley that we know, because it's a different take on Harley Quinn. It's a different
mhm.
take on the Joker, and I really like that. I think that dynamic is different, and it's giving me a little different. It's not like, oh, she knew he was the serial killer. This is a deeper story for Harley. Her backstory isn't just like, oh, this is Harley Quinn. She's a psychiatrist who right away turns psycho. This is the psychiatrist that we saw 5 years worth of her life, where she, you know, dove so deep into serial killers that it's probably going to screw up her mind somewhere down the line. And I'm interested in seeing where this goes. It's such a great book.
Well, I'm glad the Black Label books are doing good for Harley. That's good to hear.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, Warrior Born says Harley had a girlfriend yet. Her name was what was her name? I can't think of her name right now. Sorry, I'm blanking on her name. And I don't have my issue. I already put my books away. Um, but um, yeah, she's really it's interesting to see that this is her motivation for everything. Loss of her girlfriend. So it was interesting that right away they're like, we're not hiding the fact that Harley is at least bisexual. We don't know if she's a lesbian or she's just bisexual. But we know that at least she is at least bisexual here because she did have a fiance that was a girl. So I thought it was a great book. And again, they may not have had the best opening with Batman Damned, which I think would have been better if they probably didn't have to edit themselves after the first issue came out. I think that would have been a better book, but I think that they probably, because there was a big gap between issue 1 and issue 2 of that book, and I think
I
that was
remember
because they had
that.
to re-edit a lot of that stuff.
I remember my friend at the comic book store was even telling me, like, when it came to the second issue, there was this one scene between Batman and Harley that clearly looked edited.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. I know the scene you're talking about, and yeah, you can
mhm,
see that it was edited, and I think that affected the opening of Black Label.
mhm.
Because God forbid people have a shadow of something. Um, it it was just like it was overkill with that.
Yep.
But
I mean,
these two
I'm a Deadpool guy. I seen Deadpool's naked body.
exactly.
So
I mean, how many times has Deadpool's hairy ass been on in the page of a book? It's
just
nothing new.
almost every run, like
I know.
it's weird that I don't feel anything by seeing him
Yeah,
nude.
you're immune to it now. It's like it's just numbed. But yeah, I mean these two books though that they've come out with Harleen and Joker and Harley, Criminal Insanity, great freaking books. Like this is if you're used to reading Harley Quinn now since the New 52, this is not that Harley Quinn. This is
Oh,
not
okay,
the
cool.
this is not the poo flying at you Harley Quinn. This is not that Harley Quinn. This is the deep psychological, really messed up in the head Harley Quinn. And you're seeing her grow in Harley. In Criminal Insanity, you're seeing her grow, and in the other one, in Harleen, you're seeing her grow too, but in a different way. So it's not both of them are not the same origin of Harley Quinn, and that's cool. Like the way that they're doing it is two different approaches, and I love both of them. SM Downs here says, "Sup? What's up, SM Down?
I'll have
Welcome to the show."
I'll have to check that book out then, because
Yeah,
yeah, if you're saying it's good, I gotta check it out.
yeah, definitely. Like, trust me, like this book is legit. Like, I definitely recommend everybody checking this out. This is a great freaking book, and it was almost my number one. Like, honestly, I just had to toss up this in my number one, and I went with the book that I had more joy with over the more depth with. So that I'll give you that little thing. All right, that was my number two. What was yours?
My number two, we already talked about it. The Psychopath, Power
Oh,
Rangers.
cool. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I like
Yeah.
that you got
Yeah.
Power Rangers in your top five. I was scared when you said you weren't sure about it. I was like, oh, he didn't have it in his top five, but great that you
I,
did.
I like the story overall. It just wasn't what I was expecting it.
Yeah,
Just because it wasn't what I was expecting doesn't mean I didn't like it.
exactly. I made that point before about something where I'm like, I gave an episode, I think, or no, I gave a book a higher rating, and I was asked about that, and I was like, you can like a story and say it was a great story, but you would have done it differently yourself. Like I like this story, I would have done it a little differently, but I still think it was a great story. So SM Down says, so is this a new team? This show is different. I'm having different co-hosts each week so far. I might assemble a team, or I might just keep it this format where I can have different people come on different times. I don't know yet, SM Down, so this is a new thing for me. I'm trying it out. But
Hey, it is a
so
new
far
thing
I
for me
like
too.
having. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you decided to do this. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
joined me tonight. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, like, I hope this isn't the last. I mean, I'm having a lot of
Oh,
fun with it.
definitely not. Definitely, I want you on more. I definitely want you on more. I definitely want you come back on, and maybe after we get situated with the show gets situated, maybe a bigger panel too. Like maybe 3 or 4 people can come on at one time. I definitely am up for that. Like I'm
Mhm.
exploring. I'm not closing my mind to anything on the show right now. Like I'm not setting anything in stone right now. I'm just formulating the show, and I hope all you guys help me formulate it as well. So,
Mhm. Cool.
so all right, let's go on to our number ones. I want to read Tevius real fast, and then we can go to you. So Tevius is Power of X, Number 6. Finally, all the pieces are in place, and I love it. Also, I am very intrigued on what Moira is up to and why is she doing all this to unite all the mutants against the new enemy. Also, yay, Professor X and Magneto working together again to fight the machines and this new enemy is really awesome and epic. I love it as far as the X-Men teaming up with Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, and some of their old enemies to fight this common threat is really interesting. That I can't wait to see what happens next. Okay, this actually, before we go into our number ones, this is what I wanted to talk about tonight, because it is the end of this. Have you read House of X and Powers of X?
Fortunately, I haven't. Like, when it comes to Hickman, he writes so much.
Yeah.
I have to get one book. I have to get them all. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you have to read the maps, and you got to follow diagrams and all that. I totally understand. I just want to give my opinion on this. I don't I don't like what the direction that they're going with the X-Men, because like the whole Moira Taggart reincarnation thing, and she got powers, especially like in this beginning of this issue, and it was beginning of I think House of X #1 too, where she tells Charles, "Read my mind." How many times while they were together has Charles read Moira's mind and never read any of her past lives or any of that? So it just felt like he's. This is what I was saying, like on the Discord. I was saying it to Warrior Born on Discord that I feel like Marvel right now is in this place where they have to reinvent characters in order to write them, and they're reinventing the X-Men in order to write them again. It's like I feel like they're doing that with a lot of the characters in Marvel right now.
Oh
They have to reinvent them. Like Hulk
some
had to be reinvented.
doesn't like. You guys already know my feelings on the reinvention of Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, I mean that's how they have to do it. It's like they can't stand with a character that is written. They have to reinvent that character. Like, why can't you write a character the way that they're written and pay attention to their history? Why do you have to reinvent them? Like, when you have to reinvent, I think that's a poor writer, and I think that's what they're doing with this. And I hate that they have to reinvent the X-Men. The X-Men is such a long-standing book that you don't need to reinvent them. So it's just that's my opinion on it. I know some people like it, some people hate this, some people are indifferent to it. But we're gonna have Dawn of X soon, so
Cool.
and I think that starts tomorrow. Dawn of X. I think we get X-Men #1 tomorrow.
Marauders is what I'm actually most looking forward to in the X books.
That looks pretty cool. I'm looking for I think it's
I
I'm not
need
sure
to, I
which
need
one.
to like a Jerry Dugan book again.
The one with the Summers clan, you got Rachel, you got I think that's which one is that? I think it might be X-Force, the one with
Oh
you get
no, is it?
Cable, you get Rachel, you get Rachel, you get Scott, you get Jean, you get Wolverine, and I forget who the other person on there is. But there's like a lot of, like that's the book I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure which one it is, but because there's so
Yeah,
many of them.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with all of them on the cover. That's the one I'm looking forward to because I love the Summers clan.
Mm-hmm.
So to see them as a group, I like that. I like seeing Cable and Rachel and
Is
Jean and
Young
Scott all
Cable
together.
still a thing though? I gotta question that.
Yeah, but I don't think he's the thing in here because I think that's
Oh,
older Cable on that cover. If I remember the cover correctly, it's older Cable. So they reinvented everything. So that's what I'm saying. They had to reinvent things so they can write them, but I'm looking forward to it. Warrior Born says, I agree, but I think that's because of MCU influence.
oh,
I would agree with that if
yeah.
they were changing it to the MCU stuff, but they're not. Like maybe the X-Men are being changed so they can write them like that in the MCU. Maybe it's a you know, they're
The prototype.
proactively doing it. Yeah, like they're doing it now, so this way they can write it like that in the the show and the
Yeah,
movies.
good point,
But
Wario Born. I didn't think of that.
Hulk is different. Like if you read Immortal Hulk, he's different than the Hulk that you're seeing on screen. He's totally different.
Oh, well, they have the She-Hulk in the MCU look like the She-Hulk from that's
I
on.
hope not, dude. I hope not. If they have Cave Woman Hawk in the on Disney Plus, I'm canceling my subscription. I'm going to cancel my subscription because She-Hulk cannot be that. I don't want to hear that talk out of her mouth. I don't want to see her looking like a cave woman. I don't want to, I want She-Hulk to be Jennifer Walters, who has a little bit of sass to her,
Mhm.
and a smart lawyer. That's who I want. Like, I miss her personality, not just even her looks and her appearance. It's her personality too is gone. She's just a. What they did was they took Incredible Hulk and they made him a woman, and then they made Incredible Hulk, another Incredible Hulk, and they made him into the Immortal Hulk. So they reinvented Hulk twice because She-Hulk is not She-Hulk. She is
She's just
the
Hulk.
Incredible Hulk. She's Savage Hulk because she talks like him. She-Hulk smash.
Isn't that what she's going by now? Just Hulk?
Yeah, she's going by Hulk. Like Hulk smash. Like, why did you like? They had to reinvent everything so they can write them. That's not
I think
creative.
the best I've read of current day She-Hulk is when she was like in the Captain Marvel book. Or the first arc where she was actually using a robot or something like that.
Yeah,
When she was
that
not a
was
monster,
okay. Whenever she's like back to like, and sometimes like there are writers like, and this is also a problem with her, is that the consistency of how she's written across the board. Like some writers write her and draw her where she's still normal, and then they're writing her and drawing her like she's is the Hulk. So it's like that inconsistency too. But yeah, I don't like what they're doing with her, and I hope and pray that they don't do that for the MCU. But Warrior Born also says, yeah, like they did with the Black Order. The Black Order I think was new, so it wasn't like um, Black Order. They didn't really have to reinvent or anything because they're kind of relatively new. They came out during Infinity, so they're relatively
unless
new.
what was that guy's name? I forgot his name. The guy who in the comics could control people's minds from the Black Order. Damn, I can't
I
remember his
know who
name.
you're talking about.
The Squidward joke. Damn, I forgot
Yeah.
his name.
I think it begins with an M. There's Proximity at Midnight. There's
Corvus Glaive.
Clovis Clave. What's his name?
Dang, it's so wrong that I can only think of him as that Squidward joke.
Yeah, it's
Ebony Maw.
Ebony Maw. Okay, I said it was an M. Maw was the end I was thinking of. Okay.
Because I didn't like that they just gave him telekinetic powers in the movies, but I can understand that.
Yeah,
you had to do
you
that.
had to simplify it sometimes. Sometimes you do need to simplify things. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go into our number ones. What was your number one?
Can you take a guess?
I'm trying to think. What was released cat wise?
Okay,
what was
pulling
it?
it out. White Fox.
I forgot that we just talked about that too. Damn, I forgot.
Yeah.
I was thinking Captain America like.
Yeah, Captain America didn't come out this week. And yeah, I haven't been a fan of the recent couple of Cap issues.
Me either.
But yeah, we already talked about White Fox, so
yeah. Can you guess my number one?
Let's see. Is it Powers of X?
No.
Or Net X? No. I give up. Can I buy a vowel?
Go Power Rangers number 24.
Power Rangers.
This was a filler issue, but it was a really good one. It dealt with Bulk and Skull. They had this show, like a YouTube show, where they film. They're filming Power Rangers, as they fight, the big monsters and all that, and it actually has. Did you watch? You watched In Space, right? So
Oh,
You
I
remember
loved
that?
it.
You remember Countdown to Destruction where Bulk and Skull's like, I'm a ranger, I'm a ranger. You know, they stepped up and they became like actual good heroes in that story.
Uh-huh.
They act heroic in this story. Um,
Oh.
they're trying to get. There's this another kid and he's trying to be like, you know, he's trying to move in on Bulk and Skull's territory by, you know, filming the Power Rangers, and they sold it to like a network. You know, the news network used their footage, so they got paid for it. And Bulk and Skull are like, we need to do that, so they're taking extra risk to get it. And then as they're setting up their camera and all, they see that a group of kids are, you know, are in a bad way and they're going to get hurt if they don't get out of there. And they had to sacrifice their filming and their camera to rescue them. And they decide to be heroes and they rescue them. And the kid shows his footage of the big fight, but and Bulk is kind of pissed off about it at the end. But Ernie's like, you know, I heard you did something really heroic, and you know, you're going to get, you know, a free smoothie or something like that. And it just makes him think about himself, and he's like, I did something good, you know. And I like
Yeah.
that, you know, Bulk and Skull did something good for a change, you know. It showed them in a different light, like again, like Countdown to Destruction did.
And this could function well as a one shot, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely. You don't need to really know what's going on in the comic books. It was just them filming their show. All you need to know is that they started their podcast vidcast on YouTube or
The
whatever like their
second
YouTube type thing is.
the second you said that, I'm like, I gotta hunt that down now.
Yeah, it's a really solid issue. Like it just gives them a good character. It's a good character story for them. Like you really don't need to know anything else that's going on in the books. Nothing about Necessary Evil. Nothing about anything else. Just all you need to know is Bulk and Skull and the Power Rangers. And since you watch them, you already know them. You know,
Hmm.
so that's all you need to know. And they even explain, you know, the whole Ranger Station show that they're doing. Like they explain that in the very beginning why they're doing that. So it's a really good issue. If you're a fan of Power Rangers or Bulk and Skull, it's a really good character issue, and that's why I like it about it. And that's why I got more satisfaction out of this than I did Harley the Joker and Harley Criminal Sanity. That was a good psychological great read, but this was more of a, you know, like I needed this. You know, I needed to see Bulk and Skull be good guys. You know, so that's why I picked that over it. I just needed that moment where they stepped up and became the good guys.
Cool.
All right. Again, I haven't done my most anticipated show yet, so that I'm gonna start trying to do that on a Sunday, but I just haven't had the time yet. So we're gonna do our most anticipated tonight.
Okay.
Terry only has one, and he says King Shazam, but I don't think that comes out to November, Terry. I don't think that comes out to November because I posted a preview of that issue on Comic Fanatic today. So earlier today, I posted a preview of it, and that comes out on November 5th or something like that. So it's next month. But
Well,
maybe there's another Shazam book that
it's gonna
comes
be
out.
next month then.
Yeah, maybe there's another book that's coming out that he meant to put. But what books are you looking forward to?
Let's see. I have three books. Arrow, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Arrow number four. Captain America. Um, Hoping this redeems this arc. I haven't been liking the past couple of issues of Captain America, so hope this gets on back on track. And the Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool tie-in. I haven't liked all the tie-ins, but I had to say the Deadpool tie-in was actually my favorite.
I think it's because it's more heavily Deadpool than it is Carnage.
I guess, and it also helps that it's the only Deadpool book that's out right now.
Yeah, until they reboot him. Because he's coming out with one. I think it's January or February. I posted that
He's
preview up this weekend.
he's it's gonna be written by Kelly Thompson, which I'm
Yeah,
actually pretty excited for.
but I think it's only a mini series if I remember correctly.
Oh, it's a miniseries? I didn't know that.
I think
I
so.
thought that
Let me check
no,
out the preview.
no, No, it's an ongoing. At least that's how I heard of it when it was first announced.
Let me just go to that because I don't know why I'm thinking it was 1 of 5, but let me just check this out. Um,
No, I'm pretty sure it's an ongoing.
I might be wrong. I just want to check it out real fast to make sure.
Yep.
Because I remember doing it. I could have sworn it said 1 of 5. So let me check that out real fast. No, it does say number 1. Okay, it does say 1 of 5. I don't know why I was thinking a miniseries. Yeah, it's an ongoing. As far as I know, it's an ongoing. Okay, I was
Okay,
wrong
good.
about that. I don't know
Okay.
why. I don't know why I thought it. Maybe it's because she's doing another book that's a miniseries, and I confused the two out. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, you had me worried there for a sec because
It'll be
yeah.
interesting to see her take on it.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I was on and off again with Scotty Young's run, honestly, and
Hmm.
with Kelly Thompson coming in, Jeff the Shark, I'm pretty sure is going to be there. So,
Oh yeah,
ain't,
he's right on the cover.
yep, anything with
He's
Jeff the
biting
Shark.
Alyssa Bloodstone's Elsa Bloodstone's skirt off.
Anything with, honestly, I'll be focusing on is Jeff the Shark. That's all you need. He's that spinach to my Popeye.
He is a pretty cool character, but
Hmm.
interesting to see that he's in a Deadpool book. I think she like just puts him with anything that's a pool. Like but it'll be cool to see how he is in that book
Yeah, I
for
mean, I
sure.
think Kelly. I have to check back my Deadpool history, but I think she's going to be only the second female writer for
Yeah,
Deadpool
I think
ongoing
so. I was
series.
thinking the same thing. Because there was
Gail Simone.
Gail Simone. Yeah, she's the
And
most prolific one that's written him anyway.
yeah.
But I think she is the second woman who's ever written Deadpool.
Hmm.
Um,
So yeah.
all right. My three are. I was gonna put Arrow number 4, but I wanted to put X-Men number 1 instead. I went with
Oh,
X-Men number 1 because it's a new thing. I want to see what they're gonna do with the X-Men. Even though I'm not crazy with it, I'm still intrigued by what they're gonna do. Um, Second one is Orville number 4. I've really been enjoying the Orville comic book, so I wanted to see that. And with the cliffhanger from last issue, Batman number 81. Will Damian be killed? You know, what would Thomas Wayne do? What's Thomas Wayne going to do in the next issue? We only have after
what's
this issue, there's only 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 more books. That's it.
what's this? Damien might be killed.
Yeah,
It
Thomas
won't
Wayne was told
won't
that
won't this count as his second death?
yes. But I don't think he's going to be killed. I think Thomas Wayne is going to turn on Bane. Like I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to turn on Bane. But
Hmm.
yeah, we only have 4 more issues in this run of Batman, and then it's going to change over to a new team, and we're going to get a new Batman Catwoman book by Tom King. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll jump back onto Batman for that
issue,
Batman Catwoman comic
yeah.
by Tom King. But if there's oversaturation of poetry, I definitely will drop off.
I'm okay with it. I think he's exploring a new part of the medium, which I like. He's not reinventing, which I like. He's just exploring a different way of telling a story, which I understand. Like he's not reinventing
Understandable.
characters. He's just reinventing the way a lot of people. He's he's reinventing perception of how a story should be told, and I
Gotcha.
get that, and I'm cool with that. So
Understandable.
yeah.
It's just
Um
personally for me, poetry is kryptonite.
yeah. I understand that not everybody's for that. Especially like when, and it's the same thing with people who don't like when writers use like Shakespeare as references and stuff like that. I totally understand that. Um, but I just like that like when people do something different with the book, especially with someone as old as Batman to get him from a different angle. I really like that. So I've been enjoying the run so far, and I want to see how this ends. And this is the beginning of the end. Terry says good night, guys. And let's see. Warrior Boy says good night to Terry. We're gonna be wrapping up. So
Yep.
is there anything that you want to promote or get out there and what you're going to be doing
Um,
this week or anything like that?
Not really. Just for if you're into Captain America and you're on MeWe, me and my friends have this one community called Captain America: The Living Legend. If anybody wants to check that out for all
The
cap
link's in
related
the
stuff.
description.
And same thing with a Discord. We have our own Captain America Discord page. So anybody want to check that out, go ahead.
Yeah, both of those links are in our Discord, in the comments. And
Cool.
be sure to check out the Comic Fanatic. That's in the comments. Not in the comments, in the description. You can check out that link for that. The Discord is also there. You can join that Discord as well. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Book Theater and at Comic Fanatic. Yeah, the Comic Fanatic reviews will be going up tomorrow. Sorry they're late again. I just trying to get into the new situation that I'm in with the site and everything else going on. So I'm trying to adapt to it, but they will be starting to come out earlier on in the week than near the end of the week. But yeah, so just check all that stuff out. And Friday, I'm going to be doing a show with. I know Justin's in on it. I'm not sure if Jesse's up for it yet, but we're going to be doing a talking track. So join us on Friday for a talking track as a part of TJIF. So hope you guys can join me for that. We're going to be talking all the stuff that came out in New York Comic Con, the trailer for Star Trek Picard, and some of the short tracks that have come out since then. So that's it for this episode. And I want to thank Cryptid for coming on and being being your first appearance on camera and everything. So I want to thank you for that.
Yep, that's right. You heard, people. This is my first appearance right here.
And I'm honored for you to do that. And again, also extend an invitation to everyone to come back on. You know how to DM me. Let me know when you want to, and we'll make it happen. Because great
Whenever, man.
co-host. Yeah.
Hopefully, like we'll have better connection than earlier. Sorry about
Again,
that.
technical difficulties, they happen. It's not a live show unless you have a technical difficulty or 6. It's just not a good live show if you don't.
Warrior Born saying, I enjoyed this. Hope Cryptid does this again. Dude, thanks for coming by here, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Warrior Born. That didn't come up on my little thing yet, and when it does, I'll post it up there. But thank you guys for all you guys for coming out and joining us. And we'll be back here next Monday. I'm not sure. Terry is going to be joining me next week. He asked me, I said yes. So Terry will be my co-host next week. And I hope again, Cryptid, Brevin, both of you guys are also invited back. That's what Warrior Born says. So thank you so much for enjoying it. Thank you for coming by and seeing it. It says anything for a friend.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for stopping by and staying with us the whole time. But that's it for the show. So until next week, please keep reading comic books. Support indie comic books. Support any book you freaking want. And I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Night, everybody.